Hello folks, and welcome live to the paddock here at the circuit to Barcelona, Catalonia for the second week of Formula One testing, pre-season 2017. We thought we'd give you a little tour around, show you what it's like behind the scenes in the places that you often can't get to. So we thought we would start down here at Sauber, and a point of big interest today, given that Pascal Wehrlein is back in the car, having missed the first week of testing. Concerned faces from Mercedes, talking to Manisha Kaltenborn down there. I've heard that he's been doing quite a good job this morning. Obviously, it's a huge task for him to get on board with the new 2017 cars after that crash that he had at the Race of Champions, which put him out with, we're still not sure whether it was a neck or a back injury. Anyway, he was doing a lot of out-laps and in-laps this morning, just building himself up slowly. But the team said he's done a great job getting himself back on terms with these far more physical cars. We'll be hearing more about that later. One man who's already driven them, of course, is Marcus Ericsson, who's sitting here waiting, almost as though we'd planned things. Hello, Marcus. Can we grab you for a second, chap? Thanks, man. How are you? Looking far bigger than the last time we saw you. How's winter training been?
It's been good. It's been quite tough, but that's how it should be, I think. And it's been fun as well, because the last sort of 3 years, it's been more, cardio in the gym and not putting on any muscle, whereas now we can afford to put on some muscle because the expectation of the faster cars we had. So it's been a bit more fun, putting a bit more weights and a bit more strength training. So it's been a good winter.
And having had the first week already, have you put on enough muscle?
Yeah, I have. I got a good test there on my second day in the car. I did 126 laps, I think it was. And I felt really good at the end of the day, and felt strong in my neck and upper body and everything. So I think the winter training definitely had paid off. So that was a nice sort of nice to see, because you don't really know. You can never really train as it is to drive a Formula One car. You can prepare and train your neck and your shoulders and core and everything, but before you're in the actual car, you don't really know if it's good enough or not. So it was nice to see that I felt so strong in the car.
Listen, difficult year last year for Sauber. I know it's way too early, we can't tell anything, but that initial feeling that you get in the car, is it better than the one you had last year?
It's definitely a big step up. Obviously the regulations has made it a lot different, but also I think in terms of ourselves, looking at the team, how much effort it's been putting into the car over the winter. We have got a lot of new people coming into the team the last couple of months, and they're starting to put their sort of influence on the team and then the new car. So I definitely think that we are moving in the right direction as a team, and we still have more to come. I think, if you look already today on the car, it's already quite different from last week. So it's, quite a few updates already. So that's the thing as well, that, it's a new push inside the team, and they want to move forward. So yeah, it's definitely a step forward, but how much of a step compared to the competition, we don't really know until Melbourne.
Awesome. We will see you on Australia. Enjoy your lunch. We'll let you get on. Thanks, chap. So as Marcus was saying, already the team's starting to put developments on their cars. We're seeing that just in the first day of the second week here, after obviously the first week and everybody just getting a baseline with their cars. Another team who didn't have a greatest of years last year was Renault. They launched this year to a big fanfare, big statements out of the engine arm of the team saying, look, 95% of the power unit this year is brand new. And with that in mind, Renault this morning have had some big problems. They've had to change the power unit on the back of the car. Again, this despite the fact that last week Toro Rosso had some issues with their Renault engine. Also Red Bull, a couple of issues, despite reporting that the unit itself is far better in principle. They've still got some pretty big issues with it. So difficult running for Renault this morning. I'm not sure if either of the drivers are actually around, but we can have a little look in. No, can't see either of them in there. So we'll carry on moving and see if we can find someone else to talk to. What's really interesting, I think, again, sort of talking to Marcus, is it's way too early to know where anybody stands in terms of overall competitiveness. And anybody that says they know, frankly, they're probably not telling you the truth. It is almost impossible to know, given what anybody is running on any particular day in terms of fuel, in terms of the updates on the car. All you can really tell is body language, and that's body language from the drivers, and that's body language from the cars. So you get out on track and you see how the cars are going through the corners, and you see who looks comfortable, which cars look twitchy. And it's the same with the drivers. You look at which drivers, how they look, are they confident? Are they statuesque and quite bold? Are they twitchy like the cars? Do they look nervous? And that's the best way really to tell who feels confident and who doesn't, because really we're not going to know anything until we get to Australia as to who really is competitive. Let's have a little look in Williams, see if we can find anybody in here. Aaron, hello, mate. Is there anybody around that we can talk to? Can we talk to you?
God.
How's things, Aaron?
Things are very good. Yeah.
Media wonder, Aaron, who sorts us all out with our interviews over the week. Everybody good?
Everybody's good. Yeah. I'm hungry though.
Okay, we'll let you get on with lunch. Well, right now I can't. We're filming, but thank you. We'll be back in a minute. Lance Stroll, Formula One's latest rookie, the young Canadian, had a difficult first week. A couple of offs, which, you know, a lot of was made of them in the media. But you've got to be fair to the guy. Is it his first time in the car? This car, yes. In a Formula One car, no. He's had a huge amount of preparation to get himself ready for the first Formula One test. But I spoke to him this morning and he said, look, you know what? A couple of little bumps in the road. I'm still getting used to it. I'm still really just getting myself to a level that I need to be at in order to be ready for Australia. So, you know, forgive him those few little bumps in the road. He's still young, still a rookie, and, you know, hasn't even started his first Formula One race yet. But if we'd been testing at Silverstone, you know, Williams might have been able to pop back to the factory, get a new wing, slam it on the front of the car, and off they go. The fact that they were here meant, obviously, they lost a little bit of running. So, yeah, that was Lance's first week. But he's, you know, he's quality. He's a good racer, and it'll be really interesting to see how he fares this year. McLaren, Honda. Where do we start with these guys? First week of testing did not go to plan. Massive issues with their power unit because of the oil system. It looked so much better this morning. Stoffel Van Dorn in the car, hoping for a better second week than the first week, was running pretty well in the early part of the session, got a good 30-plus laps under his belt, and then seems like disaster struck once again. More power unit issues. Looks like that's back off the car, and the door's shut at McLaren Honda. So we wait to see whether he'll get back out again today. But as we saw last week, anytime an issue occurs with that car, it's taken them a good 5 hours plus to get the lump off the back, put it back on, and you know, really see what they are. We're going to have a little look in here. I think Eric Boulier might be. Is Eric Boulier? Can we grab Eric? Thanks so much. Right. We'll run it. He's going to come out. That'll make life a lot easier for Alex, so he doesn't have to check his white balance again. Isn't that right, Alex? Eric Boulier is going to grab. Eric, can I grab you for a second, please, sir? Sorry, I don't want to take you away from your lunch. How are you, sir?
Well, sunny.
Okay. Yes. Let's talk about the car. How it looked like it was starting off very well today. How are things now, though?
Engine change.
Okay.
So,
it's going to take how long?
Well, a few hours anyway, so we just hope to be back on time today, obviously, for Stoffel to do more runs afternoon. But yes, morning was going well. We did the aeroplan and a few, obviously, setup changes because we still learn the car, especially with Stoffel driving style. But obviously, the session has stopped.
Yeah. How frustrating is it for someone like Stoffel, who obviously is trying to get himself up to speed in a Formula One car, to have these kind of stoppages?
Well, it's frustrating for everybody because obviously when you don't have many days of testing, you want to use the best of the days, and it's frustrating for Stoffel, for us as well. So because we don't learn the car during this time, so Stoffel can still in some way correlate to the simulator, but nothing is better than driving the car.
If 100% is exactly where you'd hope to be at this time of year, what percentage are you at?
Not big enough.
Do we say it's less than 50, more than 50?
I don't know, because if you put a number, you create expectation or the wrong one. So the less we run, the less we learn the cars, the more we take. Obviously, we are behind in our development program, so it's hurting everybody.
Thanks, Eric. Thanks for your time. Good luck. I know I said it was difficult to tell where anybody would be when we get to Australia, but the general feeling you've got to say down at McLaren is they're not going to be anywhere near where they want to be, and with there's so much expectation of them. Again, you know, another team that's completely changed the concept of their power unit and the design for this season. And it's just not meshing for them. And again, as Eric said, and this was a problem a couple of years ago when Honda first came in. If the power unit doesn't run effectively, they can't run the car as fast as they need to check whether the actual design of the car and the aerodynamics are working as they want. So the first couple of races of the year, maybe even further into the season, are basically going to have to be extended test sessions for them. One team hoping not to go the McLaren route, certainly, and to have a competitive car this year, Scuderia Ferrari, launched with one of the most intricate and certainly interesting design philosophies of any of the teams that we've seen, which even caused Red Bull's Adrian Newey to come out and say, well, they're doing some interesting things on that car that I need to get my head around and I need to understand. Is he paying lip service to Ferrari? Let's not crash into these lovely fans here, Alex. Is he paying lip service to Ferrari? One would suggest that Adrian knows exactly what he's doing, but it shows a very different approach in terms of the overall design philosophy between Ferrari and Red Bull and what they're doing. And this all has to do with the new regulations this year and cars following each other in dirty air. We've been hearing all over the winter, will it be easy or not easy for drivers to follow one another? And if they're following in dirty air, do you want a car that has a very intricate wing layout like the Ferrari, or do you want something that's a bit more simple like the Red Bull in order to deal with that dirty air? It's going to be fascinating to see who has got it right. Here is a driver who appears to be doing everything right so far, had a really good morning. We'll just let this fan take a selfie with him. Good morning, constantly improving lap time, constantly improving his performance. Esteban, how are you?
You all right?
I'm really good. How are you?
Good, perfect.
Good. How's the morning been?
Not too bad, productive, a lot of laps, I would say, and gradually, improving the lap times as well. So no, nice feeling today.
Good. Big step up for you in terms of the performance of car. Your neck seemingly is bigger than your head. You've been doing an awful lot of training. How does it feel in the car?
Yeah, it's harder. Obviously, it's harder physically. I've been training 2 months very hard, putting on 5 kilo. Of course, focusing on my neck as well. The forces in high speed, they are very tough this year, and you can go flat through all the corners you were not before. So no, it's nice to drive those cars. They are proper beasts, and I enjoy driving them.
Given the expectation on where Force India thought they'd be in the first week of testing, are you about where you hoped you'd be?
We don't know really. At the moment, it's a bit too early to say. I think everyone didn't release the horses yet, so we'll see later. But I think we are progressing all the time, and that's a good sign.
Good. And obviously, you've been out on track. You've seen a lot of other cars out on track with you. Who's impressed you?
Yeah, I think the Mercedes is very impressive. Red Bull as well, but Ferrari. I think those 3 teams they are quite impressive at the moment. But the aim is to get closer to them, as close as we can.
Awesome. Thanks, Esteban. I'll let you get on. Esteban Ocon there, another rookie for the season. We've got a really good bunch of rookies this year. I think we can class Stoffel Van Dorn as a rookie still, can't we? Yeah, I think so. After that honestly amazing debut that he made last year in Bahrain. Read the manual for the car on the flight over from Japan, and managed to score points, the first points for McLaren that year. Force India seems to have had a bit of a quiet first week of testing. I think they're really the ones bubbling, just under the surface of we don't really know where they are. We think, although it's hard to tell, the mid-grid will be those kind of Williams, Force India, Toro Rosso as well. Big questions over Toro Rosso. And it's interesting that Toro Rosso sits opposite the Mercedes Hospitality because of all the cars that launched. The 2 that look the most similar, as I'm sure you will have seen online, if not in the flesh, are the Mercedes and the Toro Rosso. And it's coming as something when Toro Rosso turned around and said, you know what, we were really disappointed that our car looked like the Mercedes. Why would you be disappointed that your car looked like the Mercedes? Because they thought they'd done something really special that no one else had thought of. And then the world champions come out with the same kind of design philosophy. Shows you just what a surprise Toro Rosso is hoping to put on the field this year. They did have some pretty big issues last week with the power unit. There's Tabs out the back, press officer. We thought maybe Carlos might be around with her, but he's not at the moment. They had some issues last week. If they can get on top of those woes, those engine woes, what could Toro Rosso do when we get to the first race of the year? Time will tell, of course. The other thing time will tell as we walk past the Pirelli motorhome is what will we see from the tyres. We didn't really learn much on the wet testing day, mostly because all the water that was poured on the track dried up within about an hour. So we don't really know what's going to happen from a wet perspective, but certainly from a dry perspective, Pirelli are saying we'll learn more this week than we did last week in terms of just how much degradation we're going to see from the tyres. Of course, Pirelli were tasked, quite a while ago with producing tyres that degraded in order to give us more pit stops and more possibilities in terms of strategy. What we want now, though, is tyres which don't degrade as much, that drivers can push on from the first lap, until the tyres give out. Will that reduce the number of pit stops down to just 1 for the Grand Prix? Who knows? Time will tell, and this week really will be quite telling. We'll pull down then to the motorhome here, which is Toro Rossos and Red Bulls, and this pretty much then is the end of the paddock. What will become of Red Bull Racing moving into an aero-led era in the sport? Everyone expects that Red Bull will be the team that turns up having done the best work, the ones to really take that fight to Mercedes. See if we can grab Daniel quickly. Go on, let's go through. Come on, Alex. Daniel, we're doing a Facebook Live for Formula One.
Yeah.
How is it today?
The pace seems to be starting to ramp up, so it's pretty good. We did softs, then we tried supers and then ultras. I think the super and the ultra was not particularly that much of a difference yet. So I think might be these cold conditions, but yeah, I think the soft running was good, so pretty happy. Starting to get into the 19s now, so that's pretty fun.
How much is it about not showing your hand at the moment? How much do you have to weigh that up against actually putting the work in to know where you are?
I think, yeah, this week we can definitely start to, find out the real performance of the car. So I think, already last week, what did we do, like 21s, and we're already in the 19s today. Or, yeah, we're a bit quicker, so we're starting to open it up a little bit. But yeah, Williams look quick, Ferrari look quick, Mercedes we know is going to be quick, so I think it's all pretty close.
I'll let you get through the throng of selfies for lunch. You see what we were saying then about body language, about looking at a driver. Okay, Daniel's always incredibly smiley, and we know that he's a very optimistic kind of guy, but there's somebody who looks at ease, somebody who doesn't look worried about the competitive nature of his car or any particular niggles that he's got to work through. Just relaxed, confident, and I think that tells you, pretty much everything you need to know, certainly, about Daniel's mindset as we head towards Australia. Still a good number of weeks to go, and the big question on everybody's lips, of course, will be, can anybody? Will it be Red Bull? Will it be Ferrari? Could it be Toro Rosso? Who could it be that actually takes the fight to the reigning multiple world champions, Mercedes Petronas? Daniel certainly seemed like he was feeling pretty good about it, and of course, Mercedes don't have their reigning world champion in place of Nico Rosberg. Lewis Hamilton as his teammate now has Valtteri Bottas. How will that little inter-team dynamic work out between those two? It's going to be a fascinating one to find out. We'll have a little walk inside Mercedes hospitality just to finish off this little paddock walk for you, just to show you inside as guests and the team have a little relax and have their lunch. The engines, of course, there's no engine noise around the circuit at the moment. We are very much at lunch, which means we have just 3.5 days left of pre-season testing for us to discover something about where we might be in Australia. But of course, we're not going to know until we arrive in Albert Park, where we will see you for the first race of what's sure to be an absolutely fascinating 2017 Formula One season. I'm going to grab a drink, I'm going to sit down, and we will see you in not too long at all.